Okay. Uh, Say I have a block of wood. What is it worth? Now, say that I make it into a spoon or a bowl. Now, what is it worth? Right? So, if we imagine the block of wood, say I have a block of wood, it depends on how big this block is, but potentially $5 at most. But if I turn it into a spoon or turn it into a bowl, I could sell it for maybe $20 or $30, depending on how nice this bowl is and how much I want to charge for it. I could charge $100 for this bowl or whatever, right? And where does that value come from, right? How does a block of wood go from being worth $5 to, we'll say, I don't know, $30, right? Because I made it into this very nice looking bowl and it's very ornate and super practical. So, where did that increase in value come from? All I did was remove material. I didn't put anything into it. I just took stuff away. How does taking stuff away from something make it worth more? And so the answer is me. I made it, out of nothing. Where did that value come from? It came from me. I made the value from nothing. The value did not come from the block of wood. It came from me because the block of wood is worth $5. But I made it worth 30. Me. From nothing. Right? From nothing. And then, well, not nothing. I converted my time into money. So we do this every day when we go to work. We make something out of nothing, right? So imagine you go to work. You don't need to imagine this, most likely. You do this. So you go to work and you work your 8 hours or whatever a day, and then you come home, right? And then you get a paycheck and it says you get, I don't know, whatever your salary is or your hourly wages for 40 hours, you get, we'll just say, I don't know, you're making $20 an hour times 40, quick math, 800, right? You get $800. Where did that $800 come from? It came from you spending your time, and then you turned your time into value, right? You did tasks, right? But those tasks got done because of you. Those tasks had value because of you. If you don't do them, then there's no money there, right? So you are the reason that there's money there. You use your time to make money. And so we are making something out of nothing because in theory, time is nothing. But we make it something. We make this concept of time into a physical thing that we can exchange. And so we do this every day when we go to work. Money turns our time tangible. It allows us to trade our time for someone else's. So you go into a store and you say, I would like to spend my time on whoever spent their time making these shoes. And then you exchange your time for their time by taking the shoes, right? Because these shoes have the value of time that you paid for them. And so if you buy $80 shoes, then you have to dish out $80 worth of your time, right? So whatever your time is worth is then converted into dollars, and then those dollars are then converted back into someone else's time in, a service or a good. And so, really, the backing for money is our time. And the funny thing is that as inflation increases, our time is worth less and less. But I really don't like that because, well, I mean, I don't think anyone likes that, but I really don't like that because my time is not worth $20, $1,000 an hour. My time is priceless. I have limited amount of time, and to me, it is priceless. So I really don't like that that someone walks up to me and says, your time's worth $20 an hour. No severe miscalculation there. My time is priceless. You should be paying, you should be paying me, but you can't afford me because my time is priceless. I am allowing you to pay me that time because, I want to do this. It is not because you're paying me, it's because I choose to do this. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't be doing that thing. But, sometimes you have to. And then so in that case, you choose to do that thing because you need to. But the reality is that your time is priceless. And I think that that's an important thing to think about. Because you only have so much of time, and realistically, there's no job that can pay you enough to compensate you for your time. You set what your time is worth. And so if you are working a job where you hate it and you hate your life, but you're making a lot of money, you need to look at what you're really getting from this. And is it worth it? Because your time is priceless. So it doesn't matter how much money you're making. It will never be enough to compensate you. And so I think it's very important to kind of look at it from that perspective. Because I'm not saying that means that you walk in and say, I'm worth $1 million, because even that is not enough. But that's besides the point. If you are doing things that you don't want to do because it's going to give you money, or because you just think that's what you're supposed to be doing, then you need to kind of rethink your actions. What is it that you want to be doing? What is it that you will say, okay, you can pay me to do this? Right? And you need to look into potentially pursuing that as an option. And yeah, I'm going to keep reading. So that was just a side tangent. That's not that wasn't even a part of this really. So they spent time making, food. You spent time making tools, so you swap. Everyone is happy. When you start using other people's time to make you time, that's when things start to fall apart. The more time you have, the more time you can get, and the less time you need to spend on it yourself. This is the world we live in. And, as I put at the end here, what is your time worth? And I answered that already. I kind of spoiled the open-ended question that that was your homework, but I gave you the answer on accident. So yeah, your homework now is to think about that instead. And so, critical thinking. Critical thinking question. But so, where was I? Yeah. So the world that we live in today, people have accumulated massive amounts of other people's time, right? And they're just holding on to it. And they're holding on to this time, and they're using this time to make themselves more time without having to spend any time themselves. And so we have this kind of loop where everyone's life is just being drained to fuel another life where they don't even really need it. They don't need the time. They just are holding on to everyone else's time for no reason. Give us back our time. Dang nabbit. So yeah, basically they are, bleeding everyone dry of their time for no reason. Everyone's got to go and work really hard for no reason. We don't need to be working as much as we do. And a big part of why that is because all of our time is, instead of being spent and utilized, is just being held. Everyone's just holding on to our time, and they won't let us, and they won't spend it. They won't use it. And because all of this time is getting sucked up, we got to keep spending more and more and more time to, get things, because all of the time that's out there is not being utilized. And I think that that's kind of an interesting concept to think about. When you think about it like that, it's like, why aren't you spending this time? Like, why are you stockpiling time, right? Like, you're not taking that time with you. You only have so much time yourself. The rest of that time is our time. That's our time you have. Yeah. Anyway, that's all. Peace out.